Bonjour, j'espère que vous allez très bien. In this video, part 4, we're going to see how to ask when in French. So it is a question, how to ask when in French. We are going to see 4 parts, and the first one is that we can also use the est-ce que question with when. Let's see the first example, present tense. When are you leaving? So how can you say that using when, which is quand in French, and with est-ce que? Quand est-ce que tu pars? So let's explain here the pronunciation, as we've got some different things. For example, here we've got a liaison between the word quand and s, and when we've got a d, the pronunciation is like a t. Quand est-ce? Quand est-ce que tu pars? Quand est-ce que tu pars? So here we have our est-ce que question. Quand est-ce que tu pars is a possible translation of when are you leaving? Quand est-ce que tu pars? So let's see an example now about the past tense. When did you leave? So we are going to use le passé composé in French, and it is quand est-ce que tu es parti? As you can here see, remember that est-ce que is invariable. We have the past tense, but we don't touch this expression. Quand est-ce que tu es parti? So parti here, we've got le passé composé. Partir, use the auxiliary to be in French, être. And here, if you are a girl, if a girl is speaking, we need the final E, but of course the final E, you can't hear it when you speak, it's just the written French. Quand est-ce que t'es parti? You can also hear that we've got a liaison here. It's like a contraction between the subject tu and the verb est. Instead of tu es, we say t'es. Quand est-ce que t'es parti? Again, in spoken French. A future example, when will you leave, is quand est-ce que tu partiras? Quand est-ce que tu partiras? So as you can see, est-ce que can work with when, with quand, and we don't have to change anything. Quand est-ce que tu partiras? Let's see now the second type of question that works with quand as well. It is an inversion. The same examples, of course. When are you leaving? So this time you can also say quand pars-tu? Quand pars-tu? And here we've got our inversion as the subject, which was before, is now after the verb. And don't forget here our hyphen. Quand pars-tu? Quand pars-tu? The past example with le passé composé S. Quand es-tu parti? Quand es-tu parti? As you can hear, usually we have no liaison here. Quand es-tu parti? Quand es-tu parti? And our final E if a girl is speaking. Quand es-tu parti? The future. Quand partiras-tu? Quand partiras-tu? But you know that in French you can also use the present tense to express future events. So to translate when will you leave, you can say in French quand pars-tu? Again, quand pars-tu? Let's see now some colloquial expressions. It's interesting actually because it is the most common way in spoken French to ask a question using when. So the first example is when you are leaving. So tu pars quand? And here in spoken French, we put quand at the end of the question. You leave when? You are leaving when? It's the very common way of speaking in French. Actually with any kind of question, but it works with quand, with when. Tu pars quand? So, even if it's colloquial, it's very interesting to know this kind of question because it's very, very, very common. The past example, when did you leave? So, t'es parti quand? Remember the contraction between tu and t'es. T'es parti quand? T'es parti quand? And the future, tu partiras quand? Tu partiras quand? Again, very common. And to finish, let's see now some expressions using when in French and how to translate expression. For example, like when is it for? When is it for in French? C'est pour quand? C'est pour quand? As you can see, for or pour in French is not at the end of the question. C'est pour quand? When is it for? What's the date on it? what's the date on it? Ça date de quand? Ça date de quand? How long have you been waiting? How long have you been waiting? Well, depuis quand attends-tu? So here we need the word depuis. So the expression, the question is depuis quand? Depuis quand attends-tu? How long have you been waiting? Until when? How to translate this question? Jusqu'à quand? Jusqu'à quand? Until when? Jusqu'à quand? So 4 useful expressions using the question when, quand in French. So I think that now you know everything about quand in French. C'est fini. Alors, au revoir et bon français.